All right, welcome back, everyone, for another deep dive. And today, we're going deep on something I think that's pretty universal in academia.
Hmm.
We all want it.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you're just starting out or you've been a professor for years.
Right.
We're talking about academic happiness. And get this, our source today, an article based on Scott Galloway's The Algebra of Happiness,
Mm-hmm.
claims there's an actual, formula for it.
Well, formula, really. I mean, that's pretty bold.
It is bold. It's definitely an attention grabber,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But before you totally write it off,
Okay.
the article, it presents this more as a framework, not like a literal equation you plug numbers into.
Okay. All right. I'm intrigued.
Okay, so the formula is academic happiness equals,
Okay.
meaning plus relationships plus skills,
Gotcha.
times gratitude divided by expectations.
Okay. I see where they're going with this. Meaning relationships, skills, those all make sense intuitively, but multiplying by gratitude, dividing by expectations, that's where it gets kind of interesting.
Exactly. It's not, just work hard and get good grades and you'll be happy.
Yeah.
There's more to it. So let's break this down a little bit.
Okay.
The first element, meaning, right, the article really emphasizes finding a sense of purpose in what you're doing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that makes sense. Like,
Right.
if you feel like your work has some kind of larger significance,
Exactly.
it's gonna be more rewarding.
It's not just about, checking boxes and getting through the day.
Right, right.
It's feeling like what you're doing actually matters.
Absolutely. And I think this applies to all levels of academia. I remember when I was first starting out as a TA teaching these huge intro classes, I was terrified.
Yeah.
But then I started thinking about it as, helping these students, opening up this whole new world of knowledge to them.
Yeah, and you get excited about it.
Exactly. And suddenly I was, putting in extra effort, coming up with creative ways to explain things.
Yeah, it's like the article actually mentions an example from Galloway's book where he talks about a professor who initially dreaded teaching a huge intro class,
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
but then, they found a way to connect with the material and make it exciting for the students.
Yeah. It's like they rediscovered their passion for the subject, and that reinvigorated their teaching and even their research.
Exactly. And their students probably benefited from that too.
Oh, absolutely.
It's contagious, that kind of energy.
Right.
Okay, so meaning check. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, let's talk about skills.
Okay.
So this is about, feeling competent in what you do. Like think about a time when you finally mastered a concept that you were struggling with.
Oh, yeah.
That feeling of I get it now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's such a good feeling. And it's not just about, the relief of finally understanding something.
Right.
It's the sense of accomplishment that comes with it.
Yeah. And you could build on that. Like you can tackle the next challenge.
Exactly. It's empowering, it gives you the confidence to keep pushing yourself and learning new things.
It's funny when I think back to like my happiest times in college. It wasn't necessarily like, getting an A on a test or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
It was more about, late night study sessions with friends.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Just like complain about professors, but also, helping each other out.
Right. Celebrating small victories together.
Yeah.
That's actually a great example of the next element of the formula, relationships.
Oh, yeah, right.
Having a supportive network of peers, mentors, even friendly rivalries
Yeah.
makes the whole academic experience so much richer.
Totally. Like,
Yeah.
if you're struggling with something, you've got people you can turn to.
Right. And even when things are going well, it's just more fun to celebrate with other people.
Exactly. It's like that saying, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Right. But I mean, even with the best support system, let's be real.
Mm-hmm.
Academia can be
It can be tough.
tough, right?
Oh,
It's
right.
it's competitive, it's demanding. There's always pressure to perform.
Absolutely. And that's where gratitude comes in.
Oh, okay. So how does gratitude factor into this?
Well, Galloway argues that consciously focusing on what we appreciate, even the small things,
Mm-hmm.
it helps counterbalance that, that negativity bias we all have.
Right. It's so easy to get caught up in what's going wrong.
Exactly. But if we take the time to appreciate the good stuff, even amidst the challenges,
Yeah.
it can make a huge difference in our overall happiness.
So it's not about, like, ignoring the problems or pretending everything's perfect.
No, no, not at all. It's about acknowledging the good alongside the bad.
Right, right.
Celebrating those small victors like, hey, I got through that grueling qualifying exam, or I helped a classmate understand a tough concept.
Yeah. Those little things can make a big difference.
Absolutely.
But isn't there a danger of gratitude leading to complacency?
Hmm.
Like, if we're always focusing on the good, do we risk, ignoring areas where we need to improve?
That's a great point, and that's where managing expectations comes in.
Okay, so how does that fit in?
It's about aiming high, having ambitious goals, but also being realistic about the path to get there.
Okay.
Galloway talks a lot about how constantly comparing ourselves to others or expecting perfection,
Right, right.
it just sets us up for disappointment.
Yeah, it's easy to fall into that trap.
It is, it is. So instead, it's more about celebrating progress and growth, and not just the end goal.
So it's not about lowering our standards, but rather adjusting our mindset.
Exactly. It's about finding joy in the journey, not just the destination.
I can see how this whole framework, applies beyond academia to it.
Oh, absolutely. Think about job searching, for example.
Oh, yeah, good point.
It can be a really stressful process, but if you focus on your why,
Mm-hmm.
what motivates you, what you're passionate about,
Right, right.
and if you nurture your network, connect with people in your field.
Mm-hmm.
And if you keep honing your skills and celebrating those small wins along the way,
Yeah.
it can make the whole experience a lot less daunting.
So even when you're, facing rejection or setbacks,
Mm-hmm.
you've got this foundation to fall back on.
Exactly. You've got that sense of purpose, you've got those connections, you've got those skills that you've developed.
And that can make all the difference.
It really can.
This has been a really insightful deep dive.
I agree.
So listeners, the key takeaway here is that academic happiness, it's not some mythical unicorn.
Right.
It's something we can actively cultivate.
Absolutely.
And maybe, this algebra of happiness,
Yeah.
it can give us some tools to work towards that, not just in academia, but in all areas of our lives.
Yeah, that's a great point. It's all about, reflecting on what brings you meaning, nurturing your relationships, developing your skills, practicing gratitude, managing expectations. And, if you're thinking about taking your talents to a new academic role, remember to check out academicjobs.com. It's a fantastic resource for finding great opportunities in higher education.
Thanks for joining us for another deep dive. We'll see you next time.
See you then.